Good evening and welcome to From the 80s View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Before we get started, as I do every week, I'd like to give honor to God, who is the head of my life, and be thankful to Him and grateful to Him for all the things that He's allowed for me to do thus far. I would not be the husband I am. I would not be the father I am. I would not be the professional that I am. And so I want to make sure that I do that. And then before I welcome this young man um, uh, into our show, I want to also recognize that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. Therefore, on the show today, I am rocking the hot pink so that I can show support for our women and for breast cancer awareness, because it's important. We have to be able to support and be able to um, show awareness to a devastating disease that has taken far too many. And We want to make sure that we understand that. So we support breast cancer awareness, and the rest of this month, if you can wear some pink to support someone, please do. And let's bring Mr. John Ashaolu back into the fold. John Ashaolu is the director of athletics at Point Park University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A close and dear friend, colleague, and we've known each other going on 3 years now.
Yeah,
Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to have you, John, because as we talked in the green room, and then we talk probably maybe once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, Things are exciting for the both of us, and just want to talk to you real quickly about a couple of topics that we're going to speak about today, John. What does leading small college athletics departments? What does that mean to you?
Ooh, a diverse set of skills. Having
Okay.
diversity, a diverse set of skills.
All right. And then um you and I we share some similarities, right? So ascending to
Yep.
high level roles in collegiate athletics with non-traditional backgrounds, what does that mean to you?
Just pretty much just work ethic. Just work ethic. It's not the the normal path, but I think when you grind and you work hard, you make the best of it.
Absolutely. And professional development in athletic administration, John, what does that mean to you?
Just means being a lifelong learner. Just thirsting for knowledge, always being curious, having a growth mindset.
That's quality. That's quality, John. These and other topics we'll be talking about on this evening's show from the 80s View. Let's get it. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. The topics that we were talking about earlier are near and dear to both John and I. One, John, you have been a leader in athletics. You coached in college, right? Now you're in athletic administration. Um, let's delve in a little bit more and some of the things that we talked about pre-show. What is a common myth about small college athletics, John?
I think some of the myths is that the some of the issues, some of the things that they do at the high level, that the small college administrator, you would be lost. You would not be able to understand or be able to problem solve. And I really think that it is really a myth because at the small college level, at the big college level, I think you always have the resources, whether it's resources of people or whether it's just resources of money to be able to take care of problems. And that's not always the truth. That's not always the truth at the small college level. I think that you really hone your ability to problem solve at a small college level because you don't have the breadth of people or the bank account, the resources in terms of monetary resources to be able to take care of problems. So I really think it's really like a training ground. Small, if you're able to do it at a small college level, and that goes for coaches too. If you're able to do it at a small college level and have success at small college level, I feel like when you're able to get to a higher level where there's more resources, more people at your disposal, I feel like you're going to be able to just hit the ground running. So I think that's one of the myths that I just been talking to some people that don't know and have never worked at small college level. Some people are fortunate enough, just to be able to, as soon as they want to get to athletic administration, be at the highest level. But there's other people like us that you really have to like the kids say, get it out the mud, right? And I think that it's really a training ground to basically really understand the whole enterprise, right? And when I say the whole enterprise, I mean the college athletics and how it fits into higher education. I think it's really a real training ground for you to really understand how those two mesh together and how those two fit in. Because at small college level, like I tell people all the time, like I don't have like a marketing department within my athletic program. I don't have like a big like a fundraising department of like 10 people within my athletic program. I have to work with our partners across campus. I have to work with central advancement to make things work. I have to work with, even if it's even down to the little things such as physical plan, like janitorial services, things of that nature. I have to work with our partners across campus to make our days, to make everything go day to day. So I really think that small college level, you are grooming yourself to be a deft problem solver, deft collaborator because you're forced to do that at this level.
And I've seen that firsthand, John. Right, being in Pittsburgh,
Sure.
and being around you for
Yeah.
that 2 years in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges, John, that you turned into successes while there at Point Park?
Well, I think that one of the main things, first things that I did when I first got to Point Park University is, I saw that we were having some pretty with athletic programs, and one of the things that just really dawned on me when I first got there was we did not have a strength and conditioning program, and I just couldn't fathom it. Like, how do you have athletics and not have a strength and conditioning program? But just those two went hand in hand with me because I was, as a former college student athlete. I mean, we had that. I mean, my two younger brothers that played college basketball, and all the kids that have coached over the years. That's just something you have, and when you start when it starts getting late in the season, that's where you really see the fruits of that labor. Where we're talking about strength and conditioning and talking about whether you're suffering injuries or whether you're not, whether you're physically imposing yourself at the end of that season. Then obviously that's the most important part of the season. So I started really seeing that some of our student athletes really bodies were breaking down. We were getting more injuries than typical. And then when you just look at like when two teams walk out there, you look at like our team's physical profile. You look at the other teams, you're like, wow, like
The
the other
eye
teams like,
test.
yeah, the eye test. They're like the other team's really getting in the weight room. So again, it was something where like, okay, how can we do this? How can we get this together and get a strength and conditioning program for our student athletes? Because I think they need it, they deserve it, they should have it. Obviously, we don't have. Again, it goes back to a lot of things go back to resources, right? We don't have the money to be able to hire, two full-time strength and conditioning coaches. But with myself, I feel like I'm a connector, right? I'm a guy that likes to just, I'm very relational, very intentional on creating relationships.
Hmm.
Being a former coach, I have a lot of relationships with the coaching side. Being an administrator, I have a lot of relationships on that side too. So, just from talking to a couple of different people, I was able to connect with a guy, Todd Hamer, who's a former head strength and conditioning coach at Robert Morris University, George Washington University, and a couple other universities. Actually, the college game, and and had built his own business in the North Shore, which is like 5-10 minutes from our campus,
Right.
where he
Right.
had his own gym. He had a bunch of trainers working underneath him, and a bunch of trainers that were former college the conditioning coaches. So and we just knew a lot of different people. We just kind of like when you and I talked. So we talked, we connected, come to find out, like, a lot of the people that he knew in the basketball world, I knew, we just kind of we bonded over that. And I was like, look, I need you to help me out, man. We got to figure out how this can work. I need the strength and conditioning coaches for my program. I was like, I can't hire anybody full time. I don't have that. So that within that conversation, we just worked out a system where, like, he was really about it. He's really a great guy. He's great about giving back, and worked out a really good rate for us, where he would enlist some of his strength and conditioning coaches to come
To
to
your
our
program.
campus and work kids out. Some of our bigger teams that had larger numbers, we would go to their gym in the North Shore, because it's only 5-10 minutes away. So within that, we're able to build a robust strength and conditioning program where, man, like, a lot of the kids are just loving it. And some kids that have been at Point Park for 2-3 years, now they're with these coaches that know what they're doing, that are professionals, and they're getting these strength and conditioning programs throughout the year, which is tailored to their programs. So that baseball is going to lift a different way than cross country. Cross country is going to lift a
Yep.
different way than track and
Than
field. So
basketball.
these
Yep. Yep.
coaches were really good at their jobs, and it's just been growing. Now I think we're in year 3 or year 4 of this partnership. It's been great for us, man. It's been great for us. It's been great for our program, the health of our student athletes, just the physical profile, and that's, again, a lot of our success. I think is a result of not breaking down at the end of the season and
Right.
having that being able to pass the eye test.
And it has probably also increased or enhanced the student success and the experience of your student athletes, which, as an
Of course,
AD, is
yeah,
your most important.
it's the most important thing.
It's the most important thing, and
Yeah,
the one aspect of your program as an athletic administrator that you want to always have is that the
exactly,
athletic experience, the student athlete experience, is at its highest level, right?
exactly.
And then adding strength and conditioning to that has
Yeah,
given them another tool to put into that tool belt to
of course.
help them with their skill development, to help them with their strength and conditioning, to help them, with the prevention or the stave of being injured and things like
Yeah,
that, right? Because longevity of a student athlete being able to be on the field, on the court, on the
yeah,
track, on the course is the most important thing to them. Um, John, I've known you for a while, and I
yeah.
know how hard you work, and I know that you have given everything that you can when you were a coach. Now that you're an administrator, John, what have the experiences that you have had thus far? How have they prepared you for a higher level, position, maybe NCAA Division One, NCAA Division Two? How has it prepared you for that?
I think it's really just prepared me just to be able to handle any side of the house. I think too much in our business, people want to put people in boxes, like, okay, he's an internal guy, or he's an external guy, or he's a compliance guy. But I think that with my depth of experience, with everything that I've had to do, because, when I switched over from coaching, 'cause initially I wanted to be a head coach, head men's basketball coach, and I switched over from coaching side to the administration side, I went straight to the chair. Yes, it was at a high school level, but it was at a very successful high school program. So I didn't go to be an assistant AD and work my way up. I just went from being working on the college basketball side and went right into the chair as an athletic director. So I think that, with that experience, I've pretty much been able to touch a little bit of everything, right? I have a little bit of experience in everything. And, with it, you and I talk about it all the time, just when you talk about, like, Division 1, even Division 2 to a certain extent, they try to, you got to go through a certain track, like, okay, whether you come through the compliance side, whether you come through the student life side, whether you come through the fundraising side. But then when you get to be an you're going through your different tracks and working your way up. And then when you get to be an AD, you have to understand every parts of the athletic
Absolutely,
program. So
absolutely.
it's kind of hard like that. But my thing's the opposite. I've been in the chair where all along I've had to understand everything. So I just think that what it's prepared me to do is just being able to I can I can understand, if let's say I'm a Division 1 AD, I can still understand I might not know everything from A to Z, but I have a good enough understanding of every aspect of an athletic department. And what's also important is I can help advocate for the people that I'm serving, right? The people that are my assistant ADs, whatever it might be. I can advocate for them. I have a good enough knowledge of what their specificity is. So I just think that it gives me all those experiences that you talked about that I have. It kind of just gives me a more of a holistic, well-rounded skill set, and also the viewpoint, the aspect to be able to advocate for people and be able to understand what they are going through and what their job entails and how their part fits the whole.
And you will get there. Knowing what I know about you, John, and how hard you work and how dedicated you are for your student athletes, you will definitely get there. And we're going to continue on that track that you talking about, non-traditional. We'll pick that up
Right.
once we come back from this break. You're watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. We will be right back after these messages.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back to the show. You're watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown, and I would like to remind everyone, the viewers of the show, about the book that I wrote. It is I believe it's an easy read, right? It's informational. It's educational for young African American men that are aspiring to be athletic administrators and rise in the ranks of collegiate athletics. The title is on the screen: How Black Men Overcome Racial Barriers and the Status Quo in NCAA Institutions. If you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to Amazon Books, where you can purchase the book, and it's available in hardback, it's available in paperback, it's also available digitally. And if you are one of those who purchased the book, I really appreciate you and thank you for your support. If you'd like to contact me, you can reach me at on my website, cedricmbrown.org, or you can reach me at LinkedIn at Cedric M. Brown, PhD. That's my LinkedIn. Or you can email me on our new email, which is from the AD's View at gmail.com. Our show is every Sunday evening at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if you can't catch our show live, we will be recording shows moving forward that you can catch on my YouTube page or on the Leon Thomas's YouTube page. And those will come out. I believe they're on Wednesdays, and there are varying times, but we will get those out to you. Let's bring back my guest, Mr. John Ashaolu. Hey, John. You in our previous conversation, John, you were talking about non-traditional ways of rising through the ranks, right?
Yeah.
And I was a JUCO coach, basketball, and at one point in time aspired to be a Division I head coach, right? And oftentimes we can get pigeonholed into, well, they're a JUCO coach.
Yeah.
How would they be able to handle coaching at this level, right? And most people don't understand that the same athletes that Division I coaches recruit, I'm recruiting the same athlete, right?
Exactly.
At the JUCO level. The difference is the athletes that are making it to the Division I level, they are better scholars, right?
Yeah.
Their attention to detail and academics is a little bit more sustained,
Fine.
and their rigor is. But we're recruiting the same athletes now. As you and I talk, ascending to a higher level in athletic administration, when you are a non-traditional person, right? You go to a traditional, for the viewers. Traditional would be go to the school for 4 years. Maybe you're an athlete. Then you go and you have a graduate assistant ship in the athletics department, whether you be in compliance, whether you be in development, whether you be in facilities, or whatever the case may be, right? And then you rise through those ranks. Well, non-traditional would be like me, right? I didn't do any of those things. I went from coaching, like you, into athletic administration, right? And then I'm working right now as an administrator over all administration, right? I'm over compliance, I'm over academics. I serve on a Title IX committee. I work with our SAC leaders and things like that. Talk a little bit, John, about your ascension to where you are now. Share your journey with us a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's you talked about the traditional steps and how you ascend through the traditional background. With me, I just again, I play college football, and my big thing, all whilst was initially I want to get to the NBA. When I kept on playing, my senior year came out. I was like, well, I'm probably not going to play in the NBA. I want to do, and the next thing that came next was coaching, right? I started coaching. I had two younger brothers that started playing AAU, and they were getting to their latter years. Especially my youngest brother was getting into the high school year, so I was actually coaching. Like started my junior year of college. When I go back home in the summer, started coaching him. So when I graduated, I was like, I knew a little bit about the athletic director position because I did an internship like my last year, my senior year in the athletic department. But I was like, and that kind of really opened me up to seeing what happens within the athletic department. But still in all, I want to coach. I've been around the game, so got into coaching right away. I coached at a junior college. As soon as I graduated, I was coaching at a junior college in Texas. Did that for a year. Yeah, after that, went to got a position at Duquesne University. Was working there as assistant director of basketball operations. Worked on the basketball staff. I was there for 2 years. And after that, I was fortunate enough to get to East Carolina University. So I'm at East Carolina University, FBS school. Bigger conference there. I was like, this is it. I'm ascending up. That's
Right, I'm here.
a couple years, yeah, I'm here, right? a couple years from now, I can see I'm gonna be director of ops, then move to assistant coach, an assistant, and then get a head coaching job. But then after my first year at East Carolina, close to the end of the year, my boss calls me and he's like, "Hey, we've been fired." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, I just got
fired.
We've been let
Right.
go. I'm like, man. At that point, I was just like, man, look. I don't know if it's what I want to do, man. Like, I'm getting settled in here. I see the stats. I'm grinding hard, making those comps. And I was like, well, let me see what I want. I want to get to administration. At that point, I don't, I don't have the people around me to kind of help me navigate that. Hey, John, you want to be an administrator? Try to get to a Division I school, get to the highest level Division I school you can get to, and just get in there. No one really was around me to kind of like help me navigate those waters like some people have. So it was like, I saw no one to be an athletic director, and in my mind, I was like, all right, I have a great work ethic. No matter where I start, I'll work hard, I'll grind, and I'll get to where I want to be. And I was like, I knew I wanted to be a Division I AD. I was like, well, let me see if I can let me see where I want to get in, where I can get into. So a high school job just happened to open up like really, immediately after my term was done at university back in Pittsburgh, AD position. I was like, well, if I can get in there, and then work my way up to maybe a JUCO or maybe even like a D2 there. And I got the job at the high school. It was private high school. Again, I think it was very similar to college level because you have to fundraise, right? Because it's not a public school. You got to fundraise for everything
Right.
you want, and people are paying tuition, right? So
Right.
parents, student athletes, they have a certain expectation of the athletic program,
Right.
So and they
Have access to you.
they have access to me. So, it was very similar to the college level. And so I was fortunate enough to get the job, did that for a couple of years, won a lot there, won a lot of championships, still a lot of really good things there. And even I had to actually even one time coach the women's basketball team there because I lost the coach right before the season. So anyway, I did that for 3 years. And JUCO, community college job, athletic position opened up right around here in Pittsburgh. And it was a job where I could apply. If I got, I wouldn't have to move. So I was like, hey, this is the next step, right?
It'll be a
I'm
win-win.
working
Right.
hard.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the next step in what I probably should do. So, got to apply for the junior college, was able to get that. Did that for a couple of years. Again, hired some really good coaches, built the program up. Men's basketball was probably the best program there. They were always ranked nationally in the Division II junior college ranks. So I did that for a couple of years, and then the job opened up at Point Park University. Again, another step up, which would be a 4-year school now, not NCAA school, but still a 4-year school where I continue to learn, get better, work harder. And then 5 years later, I just started in my 6th year now. I'm at Point Park University. Again, the last 3 years, we've won the commission in our conference as the best athletic program in our conference 3 years in a row. I did a lot of hiring, hired a lot of good. That's one thing that I said that it's probably like I think I'm really good at coaches, but
At
I had a lot of
hiring talent. Right.
and hiring
Talent
talent. Yes,
acquisition. Right. Right.
exactly.
And
Just
your
back to
basketball
coaching.
program, men's basketball program was very
Yeah,
successful. That was a brand new
yeah,
coach that you just hired last year.
yes,
Very
yeah.
successful
Very
season last
successful.
year,
Yeah,
tournament play and things like that.
yeah.
So John, you have sat on a lot of leadership committees. You
Mm-hmm.
spoke, you've spoken at different
Conferences.
leaderships
Yeah.
symposiums and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. What does briefly as we close out the show, John? What does professional development do for young, aspiring, talented athletic administrators? What does professional development do for them and potentially for their career?
I think two things that come to mind right now. I think one of the things is just kind of like it gives you it expands your knowledge base, right? I look at those things as like you're taking a doctorate level course in athletic administration.
Mm,
It's kind of opened your mind up and you're learning more about the business because there's always more to learn. You can always pick up from different people and learn different things. So you add it to your tool belt. Another thing that I think it does is it gets your brand out there, right? I think that's the only way you're able to
absolutely.
grow, and because this business is all about who right? So I think it's kind of helping to get your brand out there. People are seeing you around, people are seeing you in these different avenues, and especially when
Mm-hmm.
when you're speaking or you're getting interviewed, things of that nature. It's kind of just building your brand, it's getting your brand out there. So those are two things that I think it does. But I really love it for the knowledge base. Again, I go back to I'm a relational person. I'm a connector. I love connecting with people because, as you know, the world is small, but the athletic world is very small. There's 7 degrees of separation. And athletics might be even 5 degrees of separation because everybody might know somebody else. So I for those reasons. And I think it's just, again, going back to the growth mindset things, it's helping you continue to grow within the profession and as a professional.
Well, and I can again attest to that. Um, because you are a connector, right? You saw me post something on my LinkedIn page, and I will always say I think that LinkedIn is God's social media page because
Yeah.
it it has connected me to not only you, the producer of my show, Leon Thomas. It connected me to him.
Yeah.
I just said just happened to, I want to thank God because he has allowed me for the position that I had. And here comes John Ashaolu reaching out saying, "Hey, I know you're over there at Winchester Thurston. I'm over here at Point Park." And that's how we got connected. I'm a big believer in faith, as I know that
Yeah.
you are also,
Yeah.
John. John, what has faith done for you in your professional career, and what has faith done for you and your family?
My professional career, just it's basically just helped me to persevere. Right, you're gonna have when you're in a leadership position, there's gonna be some bad days, there's gonna be some good days. They say it's lonely up top, but I think that when you have a relationship with God, I don't think it ever gets lonely. I think you can always fall back on that. You can always fall back in your relationship with God to get you through some hard times and be able to kind of be able to see down the road, right? And personally, for me, I think it just made me a better person, a better father, a better husband. It's something that I can impart on my kids, right? I have 3 kids, and a relationship with God is something else as a father that I can give them. So yeah, man, it's all about and I was raised that way, right? I was raised in a Christian household, and then my parents passed. I have the privilege of passing on to kids, so it's very important in my life and my family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And John, I when I think about you and we talk very often, I talk about how to my boss and my colleagues how
Yeah,
talented this young man is. And I had an
appreciate it.
opportunity to speak to someone in a search firm, and they just called me and said, "Hey, Dr. Brown, I'm looking for someone that can fill this type of position. Who do you have in mind?" And right away, I won't mention her name or mention the search firm. You know who it is. I
I didn't know
said,
that.
John Ashaolu. And she was like, "You are so right. I'm surprised that didn't come to my thoughts. And you are
Yeah,
so right, Dr. Brown. Thank you so much." And
yeah,
and I'm going to put that name down. I said, because if you can put John Ashaolu in front of decision makers,
yeah.
it's going to be an easy decision for them to make right now. And that doesn't mean that every single one that we go in front of that we're going to get, because you and I both know sometimes it's just not his will
It might
for
not
us
be.
to
Yeah,
have it right.
not the fit.
And
Yeah,
I went through it. You recently went through it, and it's just not that time. And so that
yeah,
means that what I love about you, John, is that um uh, you know you come back in the situation that you're in at Point Park, and you're still killing it, man. And
oh
and
yeah,
and I take my hat off to you, John, because when you talk about grind and shine, you are definitely a grinder and you're definitely a shiner, man. And I
appreciate it, man.
truly appreciate the fellowship and the
Yeah,
brotherhood that you and I have shared thus far, and that we will continue to share. John,
right.
if the viewers want to reach out to you, John, how can they do that? What's the best way for them to get in contact with
Probably
you?
Best way is probably on X, Twitter, now known as X, at Point Park UAD. That's probably, I'm always on Twitter. For better or worse, I'm always on Twitter. Always
Right,
posting
right.
stuff about my family, my kids, or obviously my athletic program that I'm very proud of.
And you FTAV viewers, remember, John Ashaolu hires great people. So
Sure.
if you go online and you look and you see that there's a job at Point Park University, you probably need to apply, because he's batting 1,000 and hiring good quality people.
I don't know about
So
that.
but hey, John, I appreciate you for being on the show, little bro. Thank you
Nah,
so much.
nah,
Thank
thank
you
you for
so
having me.
much.
It's a pleasure.
And then
Thank you.
we'll be talking soon, but stay on, and I'll
Yes,
meet you
sir.
back in the green room after the show.
Yes, sir. All right,
I'd
thank
like
you.
to
I appreciate
thank
it.
John Ashaolu, the director of Point Park University, for being on the show today. And before I close, I'd also like to give thanks to Mr. Leon Thomas. He is the producer of the show. He is a big brother. He's a colleague that has given me the best opportunity that I can have as a professional. Um, and I want to ask all the viewers to pray for Leon and his family. Leon is a giver in the DMV area with Racquetball Revival. There's a lot going on there, but he's also a member of the community that is mourning the losses at Morgan State University and at Bowie State University, and then also dealing with some family personal things. So I want you to really reach out if you can. The Leon Thomas Group, which you can find on YouTube, or Leon Thomas Group, which you can find on LinkedIn. Just connect with him. He's a great brother um, to have in your life, because he's an angel sent down from heaven for me in mine and my family's life. And then also, again, please reach out to someone that you may know that has been affected by breast cancer, and you want to be as supportive as possible. If you can go to a organization that takes donations, the organization that you can go volunteer at. I know that there's some walks and some runs that are coming up. If you can participate in a walk and a run, that will help tremendously, because we want to find a way to eradicate or eliminate cancer from our families, friends, and around the world. So I thank you for joining me this evening. And again, we can be seen on Sunday evenings at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. If you can't find us there, you can find us on a replay on my LinkedIn page, or my YouTube page, or on Leon Thomas Group's YouTube page. Thank you all for joining us. Good night, and God bless.